failure isn't final, it's feedback. See, most people treat failure like a full stop when it's really just a comma in the sentence of your story. You fail one time and think that's it. You think the dream died, that the opportunity passed you by. But failure doesn't mean you're done. It means you just learned something that success could never teach you. You see, failure is life's way of whispering, not like this. Try again, adjust. It's not the universe rejecting you. It's the universe redirecting you. The problem is, most of us never stay long enough in the lesson to hear what it's trying to teach. We're so embarrassed, so hurt, so defeated by the fall that we miss the wisdom in it. But if you pay attention, if you breathe through that pain and lean into it, you'll realize that failure is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. You ever notice how the best lessons in life never come easy? Nobody learns patience when everything's going right. Nobody learns resilience when the road is smooth. You learn those things when you hit a wall, when the plan collapses. When you do everything right and still fall short, that's where the transformation happens. That's where the next version of you starts to form. You can't level up without losing something. You can't step into who you're meant to be if you're still holding on to who you were before you fell. That's what failure does. It breaks your old self down so your stronger self can emerge. But if you see it as the end, you'll never experience that rebirth. Think about it. Every person who ever achieved something great has a story full of failure. You just don't hear about those chapters because people only celebrate the success. But the truth is, behind every victory are 100 silent losses, 1,000 private moments of doubt, fear, and frustration. They didn't stop because of failure. They evolved because of it. They let every mistake, every rejection, every disappointment sharpen their focus and refine their hunger. When life said no, they asked, why not? When the door slammed shut, they built another one. That's how you win, not by avoiding failure, but by facing it head on, by refusing to let it define you. See, most people think success is about talent or luck. It's not. It's about endurance. It's about staying in the game long enough to collect enough feedback to figure it out. Failure gives you the data. It shows you what doesn't work so you can find what does. It's like a sculptor chipping away at stone. Not every strike reveals beauty right away, but every single hit gets you closer to the masterpiece. You're being shaped by the blows life throws at you. The pain isn't pointless, it's progress in disguise. Every time you fall flat, that's life carving out the rough edges, making you into who you were meant to become. But here's the truth, most people never make it because they take failure personally. They think, if I fail, then I'm a failure. That's a lie. Failing doesn't make you a failure. Quitting does. You can fail 1,000 times and still win if you keep going. The real tragedy isn't falling, it's refusing to get back up. Because every time you rise again, you take back your power. You tell life, you can knock me down, but you can't knock me out. That's what separates the ones who make history from the ones who fade into it. It's not their circumstances, it's their response. When failure showed up, they didn't hide, they listened, they learned, they adjusted, they grew. Let me tell you something, the people who make it to the top, they don't fear failure, they study it, they treat it like a coach. When they fall, they ask questions. What did I miss? What can I do better? Where did I lose focus? And then they apply it. They don't waste energy crying over what went wrong. They use that energy to rebuild stronger. The mindset shift is everything. When you start seeing failure as feedback instead of defeat, you stop being scared to try again. Because now you understand, even if you fall, you're still moving forward. Even if you lose today, you're learning how to win tomorrow. You've got to stop expecting perfection and start respecting progress. Nobody gets it right the first time. Nobody builds greatness overnight. The problem is, we live in a world that only celebrates the highlight reel. Nobody posts their failures. Nobody talks about the nights they cried themselves to sleep. Nobody shows the setbacks, but they all had them. Don't let the illusion fool you. Every success you see is built on a mountain of failures you don't. So stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's finished product. You're still in the making. The failure you're facing right now might be the very thing that prepares you for the opportunity that's coming next. I know it hurts. I know it's frustrating when you give everything you got and it still doesn't work out. But listen, you didn't lose. You learned. You didn't fail. You found another way that doesn't work. And that means you're closer than before. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's the path to it. Every person who ever did something extraordinary walked through the same valley of disappointment you're walking through right now. But they didn't turn back. They didn't let the pain make them bitter. They let it make them better. So when life knocks you down, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because the moment you shift that question, everything changes. You stop being the victim of failure and start being the student of it. You start to see that every closed door, every rejection, every mistake was pushing you closer to where you're supposed to be. It's not punishment, it's preparation. You're not losing, you're learning how to win differently. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. They understand failure is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of the next chapter. The greatest transformation of your life won't come when everything's perfect. It'll come right after you fall. That's where strength is born, where vision is sharpened, where real hunger is developed. You don't become unstoppable by avoiding failure. You become unstoppable by surviving it, by learning from it, by refusing to let it break your spirit. Because once you realize failure can't destroy you, nothing can. Failure isn't final, it's feedback. And if you're still breathing, that means the story isn't over yet. Pain is the price of progress. You can't expect growth without discomfort. You can't expect transformation without turbulence. Everybody wants success, but nobody wants the struggle that comes with it. They want the glory, not the grind. They want the reward, not the risk. But let me tell you something, pain is not the enemy. It's the proof that something inside you is shifting. It's the sign that you're moving beyond what's familiar. Because the truth is, you can't grow in comfort. The comfort zone is where dreams go to die. It's where people settle, where they stop stretching, where they trade their potential for safety. But pain wakes you up. It reminds you that you're alive. It's life's way of saying, there's more in you. Keep pushing. Most people run from pain because they think it means something's wrong. But champions, they understand pain means something's happening. Something's changing. The struggle is the evidence of movement. You can't build muscle without resistance. You can't develop strength without pressure. Every time life puts weight on your shoulders, it's not to crush you, it's to condition you. The problem is, we want the outcome but not the process. We want success without sacrifice. We want victory without vulnerability. But it doesn't work that way. The pain you're feeling right now might be the very thing that shapes you into the person you're meant to become. There are going to be days when you wake up tired, days when you question if it's even worth it, days when you give your best and it still feels like it's not enough. But listen, those are the days that count. Anybody can keep going when it's easy. Anybody can be motivated when they're winning. But what defines you is how you move when everything hurts. When nothing's working, when the results don't show up as fast as you hoped. That's the battlefield where winners are made. You've got to be willing to stay in the fight when it's not pretty, when it's not fun, when it's not comfortable. Because pain is temporary, but quitting, that's forever. Every time you face pain, you have a choice to break or to build. Pain will do one of two things. It'll destroy you or it'll develop you. And that depends entirely on your mindset. If you run from it, it'll chase you for the rest of your life. But if you face it, if you confront it, it'll make you stronger than you've ever been. You've got to learn to see pain differently. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this doing for me? Because behind every painful experience is a purpose. The heartbreak, the failure, the rejection, it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's preparing you to handle the blessings, the responsibilities, the opportunities that are waiting for you. You can't lead if you've never been broken. You can't inspire if you've never been tested. You can't truly win if you've never known what it feels like to lose. Think about a diamond. Before it shines, it's just a piece of coal. And that coal has to go through intense heat and unimaginable pressure to become something valuable. Without that process, it stays ordinary. And that's exactly how life works. The heat you feel right now, the pressure that's weighing on you, it's not there to destroy you, it's there to transform you. You're being refined in the fire. Every struggle, every sleepless night, every tear, it's carving out your greatness. You might not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the pain you hated was actually the moment you started to evolve. The difference between average and extraordinary isn't talent, it's tolerance. It's how much discomfort you can endure without losing focus. The ones who win aren't the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who embrace it, who use it, who channel it into fuel. They take that pain and turn it into purpose. When life knocks them down, they don't stay down. They dig deeper. They remember why they started. They remember what's at stake. Because when your why is strong enough, the pain becomes fuel instead of fear. You stop running from the storm and start walking through it. You stop asking for an easier path and start praying for stronger legs. I know it's hard. I know it feels like the pain is too much sometimes. You're tired of being tested. You're tired of carrying the weight of your dreams on your back. You've done everything right, and yet it still hurts. But I need you to understand something. The pain you're in right now has a purpose attached to it. It's doing something for you. It's stretching your capacity. It's building your patience. It's developing your resilience. The version of you that will achieve your dream can't be built without this process. Every great story you've ever heard, every hero, every leader, every success story was forged in the fire of pain. They all went through moments where quitting felt easier, but they didn't. They held on. They pushed through. And that's what made them great. You've got to learn to love the process as much as the promise. The process is where the power is. It's where you learn who you are. It's where you discover how much you can handle. Stop wishing the pain away. Start asking for the strength to endure it. Because if you can make it through this, if you can hold on just a little longer, you're going to come out on the other side unrecognizable, stronger, smarter, sharper, more focused than ever. You'll realize that everything you went through was necessary. That the pain didn't come to break you, it came to build you. Most people want to skip the pain, but if you skip the pain, you skip the progress. You can't shortcut your way to greatness. Every tear, every trial, every sleepless night, it's all part of the price you pay for purpose. You've got to be willing to pay it, because when you finally reach that level you've been dreaming about, when you finally hold that success in your hands, it'll mean something because you earned it. You'll look back and say, that pain was worth it. And it will be. Every moment of struggle will make sense. Every delay, every denial, every disappointment, it'll all fit together. So don't run from the pain. Don't avoid the process. Embrace it. Let it mold you, teach you, and transform you. Because on the other side of that pain is the version of you that you've been chasing your whole life. Pain is not your punishment. It's your preparation. It's the price you pay for progress. And once you understand that, once you stop fearing pain and start facing it, nothing can stop you. Failure reveals who you really are. Anybody can smile when things are easy. Anybody can talk big when everything's working in their favor. But who are you when the lights go out? Who are you when the plan falls apart? When the people you trusted walk away? When you've done everything you know how to do and still come up short? That's when the real you shows up. Not the version you post online, not the version that everyone claps for, the raw, unfiltered version that only appears when everything else has been stripped away. Failure doesn't create your character, it exposes it. It shows you exactly what you're made of, and for most people, that's a truth they never want to face. See, failure will pull the mask off. It'll show you your limits, your fears, your weaknesses, and your insecurities. It'll remind you that you're human. But it'll also show you your strength, because when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere left to hide. You've got a choice. Either stay down and let life define you, or rise up and redefine yourself. That's the moment that separates the talkers from the doers. Anybody can say they want success, but when you lose, when you hurt, when everything seems impossible, only the real ones keep moving. That's when you find out who you really are, when you've got nothing left but fight. Most people don't like failure because it's humbling. It forces you to confront truths you've been avoiding. It shows you where your discipline wasn't enough, where your focus slipped, where your priorities weren't aligned. It's uncomfortable because it tells you the truth about yourself. And most people don't want to hear it. But if you can handle that truth, if you can stand in front of your mistakes without running, that's when growth begins. Failure is the mirror that shows you the reflection of who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. And when you can look at that reflection, when you can accept it and decide to work on it, that's where transformation happens. There's a reason why some people go through failure and come back stronger while others never recover. It's because the strong don't let failure break them. They let it teach them. They ask, what did this moment reveal about me? Maybe it showed you that you gave up too early. Maybe it showed you that you were doing it for the wrong reasons. Maybe it showed you that your foundation wasn't as solid as you thought. Whatever it reveals, that's information. That's insight. That's the kind of truth success can never give you. You don't grow when you win. You grow when you lose and decide to learn from it. Failure is honest. It doesn't lie to you. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't care about your ego. It'll strip you down until all that's left is your essence. And if you're willing to look at yourself in that raw, vulnerable state, you'll find out what kind of heart beats inside your chest. Because when everything goes wrong and you still refuse to quit, that's who you really are. Not the person who talks about grinding, but the one who keeps grinding when nobody's watching. Not the person who says they want it, but the one who still chases it when it feels impossible. Failure will show you if your hunger is real or just talk. You can't fake it in failure. You can't hide behind your status, your titles, your comfort, or your excuses. When life knocks you flat, you'll see the truth about your grit. You'll find out if your vision is strong enough to survive the pain. You'll find out if your why is powerful enough to push you through the struggle. That's why failure is a blessing in disguise. It tests your motives. It reveals your purpose. It strips away everything that doesn't matter so that only what's real can remain. You don't find yourself in success. You find yourself in the struggle that leads to it. Think about it. Every legend, every great achiever, every person who changed the game went through failure that exposed it. They all had moments where they questioned if they were built for this, but that's what made them unstoppable. Failure revealed their flaws, but it also revealed their fire. It showed them what they needed to fix, what they needed to strengthen, what they needed to let go of. That's how they grew. That's how they evolved. They didn't run from the truth. They faced it head on. They let failure refine their identity instead of erase it. When you fail, it's easy to start doubting yourself. You start thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't meant for me. But that's not the voice of truth. That's the voice of fear. Failure doesn't mean you're not capable. It just means you've discovered another area that needs work. It's not saying stop, it's saying grow. Every time you fail, you're being given a chance to become more aware, more focused, more intentional. Failure doesn't destroy you. It introduces you to the parts of yourself that success kept hidden. And when you learn to see failure as feedback about who you are, you stop taking it personally. You stop letting it define your worth. You start using it as a tool. You start studying it. You start saying, okay, now I see where I was weak. Now I see where I let fear in. Now I see what I need to change. That's when you start evolving, because you can't fix what you won't face. You can't elevate if you keep pretending you've already arrived. Failure humbles you enough to grow you. It's through failure that you find your identity, not the one the world gives you, but the one you build yourself. Every fall strips away another layer of illusion until you stand there raw, real, and ready. That's the version of you that's unstoppable. That's the version of you that can't be shaken because they've seen the worst and survived it. When you've failed enough, when you've been broken enough, when you've lost enough, you stop fearing failure because you know who you are beyond it. You've been tested, you've been refined, you've been proven in the fire. So don't fear failure. Welcome it. Because it's only through failure that you'll meet your real self. The version of you that's not controlled by opinions, not dependent on validation, not scared of losing. The version that's driven by purpose, powered by persistence, and anchored in truth. Failure doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to introduce you to the strongest version of you. And once you meet that version, you'll realize that nothing life throws your way can stop you again. Every setback builds a comeback story. The moments that break you are the same moments that make you. The pain, the disappointment, the loss, all of it becomes fuel for your return. But most people never get to see the other side because they quit in the middle. They stop at the fall instead of fighting for the rise. Every great comeback you've ever seen was born out of someone's lowest point. You can't have a comeback without a setback. You can't rise if you've never fallen. That's how life works. It knocks you down to see if you've got the heart to get back up. When you're down, when it feels like everything you built is gone, you have two choices. Stay there and let it define you, or stand up and let it refine you. The comeback begins the moment you decide that your story isn't finished yet. It doesn't start when everything's fixed. It starts when you're still broken, but refuse to give up. Because every time you rise after falling, you rewrite your narrative. You tell life, you can take my comfort, you can take my peace, you can take my certainty, but you can't take my will. That's where power lives. Not in the victories, but in the moments you choose to keep fighting when there's no applause, no spotlight, and no reason left except the fire inside your chest. The comeback story isn't glamorous, it's ugly. It's painful. It's lonely. Nobody claps for you while you're rebuilding. Nobody sees the nights you cry yourself to sleep, the mornings you wake up exhausted, but still push yourself forward. But that's where greatness grows, in the dark, in the silence, in the struggle. The comeback is built in those unseen moments when you choose faith over fear, purpose over pain, and movement over misery. You don't rebuild in the spotlight, you rebuild in the shadows. And when you finally step back into the light, the world will call it a miracle, but you'll know it was the result of every painful step you took in private. Most people think success is about winning, but the truth is, success is about recovering. It's about bouncing back stronger after you've been broken. It's about using what was meant to destroy you as the very foundation for your growth. Every time life knocks you down, it gives you an opportunity to come back wiser, tougher, and more focused. You can't build resilience without resistance. You can't build a power without pressure. The comeback teaches you things success never could. It teaches you patience, humility, perseverance, and the value of every moment. You stop taking things for granted because you know what it feels like to lose them. The greatest comebacks happen when you stop feeling sorry for yourself and start getting intentional about your next move. You can't change what happened, but you can decide what happens next. You can take the pain, the failure, the embarrassment, and turn it into purpose. You can take the same situation that broke you and use it to build someone else. That's what comebacks do. They don't just restore you, they elevate you. They give your struggle meaning. They turn your suffering into strength. You become a walking testimony that failure isn't fatal, that pain isn't permanent, that setbacks are setups for comebacks. But make no mistake, the comeback doesn't happen by accident. It takes discipline. It takes focus. It takes consistency when your emotions are all over the place. You've got to rebuild yourself from the inside out. You can't keep thinking the same way you did before the fall. The comeback requires a new mindset, a new hunger, a new level of accountability. You've got to let go of what was and step into what can be. Stop reliving the mistake and start rewriting the story. You can't build a comeback on regret. You build it on responsibility. You own what happened, you learn from it, and you move forward. There's something powerful about the person who refuses to stay down. Life can't beat someone who doesn't quit. The more you rise, the harder it becomes to break you. Because every time you fall and get back up, you collect strength, you gain wisdom, you build spiritual muscle. You learn that no matter how hard you get hit, you still have something left inside you. That realization changes everything. You stop fearing failure because you know you've already survived worse. You stop doubting yourself because you've seen what you're capable of when your back is against the wall. The comeback builds confidence that can't be shaken because it's not based on success, it's based on survival. Think about a seed buried in the dirt. It looks dead. It's covered in darkness, surrounded by pressure, but under that soil, it's growing roots, it's getting stronger, preparing to break through. That's what your setback is. It's your soil moment. It feels like you've been buried, but really you've been planted. And when the time is right, when you've learned what you needed to learn, when you've grown what you needed to grow, you'll rise. Not the same person who fell, but a better, wiser, more powerful version of yourself. That's what the comeback is all about. It's not just about getting back what you lost. It's about becoming someone who can never lose that way again. Don't let the pain of the fall blind you to the power of the rise. You might have lost money, friends, time, confidence, but you haven't lost your fight. And as long as that fire is still burning, your story isn't done. You're just in the middle of your comeback. Every scar, every disappointment, every sleepless night is a part of your rebirth. You're not behind, you're being built. The comeback always takes longer than the fall because greatness is never rushed. But when it comes strong, it comes undeniable, it comes unstoppable. So if you're in the middle of your setback, don't lose hope. You're exactly where your comeback begins. You're in the part of the story that nobody wants to rue, but everybody loves to talk about later. This is your construction phase. The pain you feel is not the end. It's the pressure that's producing your next chapter. Hold on, keep fighting, keep believing, keep showing up, even when it hurts. Because one day, you're going to look back and realize that every single setback was setting you up for something greater. And when that moment comes, you'll understand that your fall wasn't your finish line. It was the foundation of your greatest comeback. Faith over fear, Trust the process. That's where most people lose it. They want control. They want guarantees. They want to see every step before they take the first one. But life doesn't work that way. The process doesn't show you the whole map. It gives you the next step. And that's what scares people, because walking by faith means stepping out when you don't have proof yet. It means trusting that something greater is working behind the scenes, even when everything around you looks like chaos. Faith says, I don't see it yet, but I know it's coming. Fear says, what if it never comes? Every day you have to decide which voice you'll listen to. When things go wrong, when the plan falls apart, when the dream feels distant, fear starts whispering in your ear. It tells you to quit. It tells you you're wasting your time. It tells you it's never going to happen for you. And that's when faith has to speak louder. Faith has to say, even though I can't see it, I believe it. Even though I don't feel it, I trust it. Even though I don't understand it, I know this is part of something bigger. Because the truth is, the process isn't meant to make sense. It's meant to make strength. You don't need to see the destination to start the journey. You just need to believe that every step you take is leading somewhere purposeful, even if it doesn't look like it right now. You've got to understand that faith isn't about pretending the pain doesn't exist. Faith is about standing firm in the middle of the pain, knowing it won't last forever. It's easy to believe when everything's smooth, when the results are showing, when life is rewarding you. But real faith is tested in the storm. It's in those moments when you have no evidence, no progress, no applause, and you still keep going. That's when faith becomes power. That's when you're building something inside of you that can't be shaken by circumstances. Because faith isn't just believing when things are good. It's believing especially when they're not. Sometimes the process feels unfair. You give your all and it still doesn't work out. You sacrifice, you show up, you pray, you grind, and still life doesn't move the way you thought it would. But that's the thing. You're not in control of the timing. You're in control of your effort, your attitude, and your consistency. The process is doing something in you before it does something for you. You might not get what you want right away because you're not ready to handle it yet. There are lessons you have to learn, patience you have to develop, discipline you have to strengthen. The delay isn't denial, it's development. The waiting season is the working season. Something inside you is being built that can't be rushed. Fear will tell you you're wasting your time. Faith will tell you nothing you do in alignment with your purpose is ever wasted. Fear says you're not enough. Faith says you're being shaped into enough. Fear focuses on the mountain. Faith focuses on the climb. You've got to choose to see your situation differently. Every closed door isn't rejection, it's redirection. Every failure isn't the end, it's refinement. The process is not punishing you, it's preparing you. It's getting you ready for something you can't see yet. The challenge is trusting while you're waiting, while you're hurting, while you're tired, it's still working for your good. There will be moments when your faith feels small, when you doubt yourself, when you feel like giving up. But faith doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you keep moving through the doubt. You keep showing up. You keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when you're scared. Because fear is not the absence of faith. It's an invitation to strengthen it. Every time you act in faith, you weaken fear's grip on your life. Every time you take a step forward, despite being afraid, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your circumstances. You start to realize that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move anyway. You can't trust the process and try to control it at the same time. Either you trust it or you don't. When you truly trust, you stop forcing outcomes. You stop stressing over timelines. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's, because you understand that what's meant for you won't miss you. You don't have to chase it. It'll meet you when you're ready. But until then, your job is to stay consistent. Keep working, keep believing, keep doing your part. Because faith without work is empty. You can't just wish for it, you gotta work for it. But when you work with faith, your effort becomes multiplied. Doors start opening you didn't even know existed. Opportunities start aligning that you couldn't have planned yourself. That's the power of trusting the process. It makes room for miracles. Sometimes the process hurts because it's removing what can't go with you. You lose people, positions, comfort, and control, and it feels like punishment. But in reality, it's pruning. The process is cutting away everything that would hold you back. It's uncomfortable because it's stretching you beyond what you thought you could handle. But that's how growth feels. It's painful before it's powerful. You can't ask for elevation and expect to stay the same. You can't pray for strength and avoid the situations that require it. You can't become your best self while holding on to old habits, old fears, and old ways of thinking. The process will strip you down, but only to rebuild you stronger. You have to remind yourself that faith is not about comfort. It's about conviction. It's about believing that there's a purpose even in the pain, a plan even in the problem, and progress even when you can't see it yet. You may not understand everything right now, but one day you will. One day you'll look back and realize why the waiting was necessary, why the struggle was essential, why certain doors didn't open. Because if they had, you wouldn't have been ready. The process protects you as much as it prepares you. So don't give up just because it's hard. Don't quit just because it's taking longer than you expected. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. Keep the faith. Keep trusting. Keep showing up. Because the same process that's testing you right now is the same one that's building you for your breakthrough. One day, you'll realize that every delay had meaning, every detour had purpose, and every moment of doubt was just preparing you to appreciate the destination. Faith over fear, always. Trust the process, even when you can't trace it. Growth isn't comfortable, and it was never meant to be. The truth is, the moment you decide to grow, you're choosing to step out of what's easy, what's familiar, what's safe. You're saying goodbye to the version of yourself that's been holding you back. And that's hard because we all crave stability. We all want to feel in control. But growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in chaos. It happens in uncertainty. It happens when life pushes you to your limits and forces you to dig deeper than you thought you could. The uncomfortable moments are the ones shaping you, molding you, preparing you for the next level. You can't ask for greatness and expect the process to feel good. People want the reward without the resistance. They want elevation without the endurance, but it doesn't work that way. Every season of growth comes with pressure. Every transformation comes with pain. The seed doesn't sprout until it's buried in the dark, broken open, and forced to grow toward the light. You're the same way. You can't grow without being stretched. You can't evolve without being challenged. That pressure you feel, that discomfort that's making you question everything, that's the signal you're moving in the right direction. Growth feels uncomfortable because you're shedding old layers, breaking old patterns, and stepping into something new. And new always feels strange before it feels strong. There's a reason people give up when it gets hard. The moment things start stretching them, they think it's a sign to stop. But what if that stretch is the proof you're becoming who you're meant to be? What if that tension you feel is growth pulling you toward a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, more capable? Growth demands that you let go of the old to make room for the new. You can't carry your old mindset into your new season. You can't step into opportunity while holding on to limitation. You've got to be willing to release what no longer fits, habits, environments, even people sometimes. And that's tough because letting go feels like loss. But it's not loss. It's making space. Space for better, space for purpose, space for peace. The truth is, pain is the tuition you pay for progress. Every great story starts with struggle. Every strong person you admire didn't get there by accident. They earned it through uncomfortable seasons. When life gets tough, most people run, but the few who stay, who fight through the fire, those are the ones who grow into something extraordinary. Growth doesn't promise comfort, but it promises transformation. And the beautiful part is, once you've been through enough uncomfortable seasons, you stop fearing them. You start recognizing them for what they are, signs that something better is coming. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start saying, what is this trying to teach me? That's when your whole life shifts. Discomfort exposes your weaknesses so they can be strengthened. It shows you what still needs to be healed, what still needs to be refined. It's not punishment, it's preparation. You can't become who you're supposed to be while staying who you've always been. Change requires confrontation. You've got to face your excuses, your fears, your patterns, your pain. You've got to get honest with yourself about what's really holding you back. Because sometimes it's not the world against you, it's you against your comfort. Comfort says, stay where it's safe. Growth says, step where it's scary. Comfort says, you've done enough. Growth says, there's more in you. You have to decide which voice you're going to obey. There's something powerful that happens when you stop running from hard things. You begin to build resilience. You develop emotional muscle. You start realizing that every time you go through something tough and make it out the other side, you become more unshakable. And soon, what used to break you starts to build you. You start to see setbacks differently, not as signs of failure, but as opportunities for growth. You start to understand that you can't become your best self without being tested. The fire you're walking through isn't meant to burn you. It's meant to refine you. And the person who emerges on the other side isn't the same as the one who went in. That's growth. But growth also demands patience. It's not instant. You can't rush maturity. You can't microwave transformation. Real change takes time, and that's why it's so uncomfortable. It's slow. You'll have days when it feels like nothing's happening. You'll have moments where you question if it's worth it. But just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Growth is silent before it's visible. It happens in the background, in the unseen moments when you choose to keep going, keep learning, keep believing. Every decision to persevere is a seed planted in your future. And one day, those seeds bloom into strength, wisdom, and confidence, but only if you don't quit during the growing season. You've got to stop seeing discomfort as a sign to stop and start seeing it as a sign to keep pushing. The discomfort is proof that you're evolving. It means you're outgrowing what used to limit you. It means your capacity is expanding. And here's the truth. If life feels too easy, you're probably not growing. Growth doesn't feel like comfort. It feels like stretching, like tension, like work. But that's where the power is. That's where the version of you that's been hiding starts to show up. You don't become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by walking through it and learning how to stand taller because of it. Some people will never grow because they're addicted to being comfortable. They want safety more than success. They want peace more than purpose. But if you really want to reach your potential, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to embrace the awkward, the uncertain, the painful parts of becoming, because that's where the gold is buried. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you take one step closer to your destiny. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're supposed to evolve, to transform, to rise. That's what life is all about. So when life gets uncomfortable, don't resist it. Lean into it. Don't let the pain scare you away from progress. Remind yourself that discomfort isn't a signal to stop. It's a sign that you're being stretched into the person you're meant to become. Growth was never meant to feel easy. It was meant to feel worth it. And when you finally step into that new level, you'll realize that every uncomfortable moment was necessary to prepare you for it. Growth is hard, but staying the same is harder. Choose the kind of pain that leads to purpose.